Ben 10 Classic has a total of 22 aliens, starting with the original 10 aliens within the Omnitrix, moving towards later 9 unlocked aliens, and ending the series with 3 Ben 10,000 aliens. And today, we be ranking each one of them from C tier to the God-ranked S tier. So let's get started with the very first alien that appeared in the series, that is Heat Blast. Well, Heat Blast belongs to a species commonly known as Pyronite from planet Pyros. Now, as the name suggests, obviously we do know Heat Blast is an alien that has heat generating abilities, cause, well, he is literally made of molten lava. It can fire breathe, shoot fire blasts, and so far in the entirety of the series till the very end of Omniverse, we never saw Heat Blast run out of fire. Yes, there have been instances where he lost his fire because of sickness or when water was thrown at him. But even at sickness, Heat Blast gets insane new abilities, such as Cold Breath or Ice Blasts. Now, as for other aliens throughout the classic series, Heat Blast always stood uniquely of itself by its own. But for the majority, Heat Blast's only weakness is it needs oxygen contact to generate heat, or basically access his powers. You might think that, right? Which simply means Heat Blast can only dominate over the surface, not beneath the water. Well, you are highly wrong on that, cause later in the Omniverse and even at Classic, we see Heat Blast can still generate heat inside the water and use water steam as a means to generate heat. Which simply means Heat Blast is not just a surface level alien, but also an alien within the classic series that can dominate both the surface and inside the waters as well. But the only catch for him, which is his only weakness by far, is space, the vacuum itself, which officially has been confirmed by the series wiki that Heat Blast would eventually lose its fire due to the harsh coldness of space, eventually making him a non-functional rock. Because of this one limitation, Heat Blast is not getting a S tier, but rather we have to put him in godly A tier. Next, we have Wild Mutt. After the very first appearance of Heat Blast in the series, we see the very next alien Ben transforms was Wild Mutt, a strange looking alien that is an alien variation of dog and a lion, or basically a predator mammal in general. Wild Mutt also doesn't have any eyes, but what he got is insane hearing ability and sightless vision that lets it see things basically by sensing the heat of the body. Its species is commonly known as Vulpomancer. In the series, we see different Vulpomancers appearing largely very different than what Ben transforms into, and looks a lot like a cosmic predator that is hard to tame and very violent in nature. Wild Mutt has lots of weaknesses, such as intense smell that can weaken his strong sense of perception over his surroundings, and also high-frequency sounds can mess up with his hearing ability that can be taken advantage of. As we know, Wild Mutt doesn't have any eyes nor has speaking ability, so as an alien, it is a very hard transformation to communicate further or even be able to be understood by others. While Wild Mutt do look cool, but to rank it, you do need to wait for the full video to end, so keep watching. Next we have the Diamond freaking Head that we see right in the very first episode where Ben transforms into it to fight off the Vilgax robots that was sent over the Earth to search for the Omnitrix pod. Diamond Head species, commonly known as Crystal Sapien or Petrosapien, from the home planet called Petropia. Even though in the series, we get to know that Petropia was destroyed and Crystal Sapiens are one of the extinct species in the Ben 10 universe. But later in Alien Force, Ben resurrects all the Petrosapien through Chromastone. While Chromastone has energy projection and absorption-like abilities, Diamond Head only has sharp crystal creation abilities. Diamond Head can shoot its crystal at high speed. Also, the body of Diamond Head is indestructible almost for everything, but the crystal that made up the Diamond Head can be shattered through specific means, as we see later in Alien Force. While in the classic series, we never saw Diamond Head having energy absorption or projection, but in the later series, we do see Diamond Head using energy absorption and projection almost like Chromastone. One of the main weaknesses of Diamond Head is his inability to regenerate if damaged heavily. Also, he is highly vulnerable to sonic vibrations, as it can damage his crystals, eventually breaking him down to the point where he is unable to regenerate himself, which, well, can be used as an advantage in combat. Even aliens like Echo Echo can easily defeat Diamond Head, which is, well, kinda sad. So to rank Diamond Head overall, just in the look of classic series and its alien, it gets A rank overall. But, well, things could be very different if other series aliens were involved. Next, we have XLR8, which we see in the very same episode where we saw saw the previous aliens mentioned in this video, by far. Now, XLR-8 was basically the only fastest alien in the classic series, unlike Fast Track, Jet Ray, or other speed-type aliens that gets introduced later in the series. XLR-8 was the only alien with fast speed, and in the Ben 10 universe, if we consider running speed. Then, XLR-8 is the only fastest running speed alien that Ben has. Unlike Jet Ray that can travel in hyperspace speed, which is faster than light itself and can shoot hyper-energy blasts, XLR-8 on the other hand can only travel at supersonic speed. While XLR-8 has lots of weakness such as electric vulnerability, slippery surface can slip him down, and also sticky surfaces are some of the biggest disadvantages Ben could have while being XLR-8. So to rank it out, it's gonna be quite tricky, but for the classic aliens, XLR-8 does get A tier from my side. Next, we have Gray Matter, which appears in the Washington, D.C. episode. Now, yeah, we all know Gray Matter is the smallest alien by far in the classic series, if we don't count Nanomech later in the Alien Force. While Gray Matter is the smartest alien and also belongs from the Galvan species, which is basically the smartest alien race that exists in the Ben 10 universe. Still, Gray Matter is kind of very vulnerable alien, as we've seen Ben basically got trapped in an episode. Now, Gray Matter do have brain and all, but he doesn't have any significant physical super ability except his brain, which makes it hard to rank it over the S tier, because of which I have to drag him down to A tier. Next, we have Four Arms, which again appeared in the very same episode where Gray Matter appeared. Now, Four Arms is basically Humongosaur of the classic series, or shall I say, Humongosaur is the four arms of Ben 10 Alien Force. Now, Four Arms is from a species called Tetramand, where females are basically the most strongest among the race, while Ben is a male, so biologically, Omnitrix gives him the male version of him. Even though Omnitrix could technically transform Ben into a female version of any species, as we saw in Alien Force where he gave birth to baby Big Chills, but by default, Omnitrix always makes Ben transform into the male version of the species he is transforming into, because Ben himself is a male. So technically, Ben could theoretically transform into a female Tetramad if he wants to, but overall, Four Arms' ability is nothing much to go for. He do have abilities such as Sonic Clap like Hulk, and enhanced reflexes and heat and cold resistance, and can also crawl in walls like a spider. But beyond all that, Four Arms is basically a 7-foot normal bodybuilder with 4 hands who can be easily defeated against the strongest alien in Ben 10 universe. Because of these reasons, I might have to rank him in B tier, even though I wished Four Arms landed on A tier. Next, we have Stinkfly, which again appeared in the very same episode as Four Arms. Now, Stinkfly doesn't have much to go for except flying like a giant bug and carrying people around. And yes, as the name suggests, it obviously stinks and can also shoot slime, which is not acidic, at least never shown acidic in the series by far. All it was shown was moderately corrosive. Now, when it comes to its weakness, obviously it's vulnerable wings, which can be targeted, and Stinkfly would lose its ability to fly. Also, Stinkfly is vulnerable to water and electricity, which is not really a great fit for A tier or B tier. Because of these reasons, I have to put Stinkfly in C tier. Next, we have our Goat Jaws, or shall I say Ripjaws, which appeared in the episode named The Kraken. Now, Ripjaws is one of my favorite aliens. It's also one of the coolest looking aliens in the entire series. It doesn't have much abilities except it can breathe underwater and basically do anything underwater. In the classic series, we see multiple moments where Ripjaws being highly vulnerable on the surface as he is not able to breathe. This is one of the most insane drawbacks Ben could have for an alien, because of which I have to put Ripjaws in the B tier. Next, we have Upgrade, which appeared in the episode named Permanent Retirement. Well, Upgrade is a artificially created species which was made by Asmuth himself. It acts as a parasitic sentient being that can merge to any electronic and upgrade it to the likings. The only weakness it has is his inability to fuse with biologically living beings. Also, it can be stretched, which makes it lose its liquid state that can mess up with him, which can be used as an advantage in combat. It surely can be an S tier alien, but for some of these weaknesses, I do need to rank it over A tier. Now, the next alien is Ghost Freak, which again appeared in the very same episode as Upgrade. Now, Ghost Freak belongs to a species known as Ectonorite, which looks a lot like a ghost and has abilities like being invisible, near immortal regeneration, body possession, and also it can rip itself out and has creepy looking tentacles beneath the skin. Overall, in the classic series, Ghost Freak is one of the most powerful alien for Ben. One of the key weakness Ghost Freak poses is its inability to retain UV/light exposure. In the series, we see Ben been using Ghost Freak in the daytime without any issue, but there have been moments where we have seen strong light exposure weakens Ghost Freak, which can be used as an advantage in combat. But overall, by far in the classic continuity, Ghost Freak probably gets an S rank, even though it's a hard A rank alien if we include other aliens from the sequels. Next we have Cannonbolt, which appeared in the episode named The Big Tick. While Cannonbolt do look cute and fluffy, which he is, Cannonbolt has its body covered with yellow, round-shaped exoplates. That lets him roll down like a ball. It's an almost living, invulnerable shell. Like 4 arms, it can also climb through walls to some extent. It has enhanced reflexes and durability and is also immune to acid. While there are lots of drawbacks being Cannonbolt, because like Fast Track, it's vulnerable to slippery surfaces, and is highly vulnerable to electricity and heat if its shell isn't being over him, which can be used as a disadvantage on him. Because of which, even though I really want to place Cannonbolt in A tier, but for the classic continuity exclusively, overall Cannonbolt gets a solid B tier ranking. Next on the list, we have Wildvine that appeared in the episode named Camp Fear. Now, Wildvine is basically Swap Fire, but with no heat generating ability. It can stretch itself to a great length. It can also harden its branches and tie up his victims, but it's not really unbreakable. Rather, it can be broken if done right. His branches are nothing but tree-like tentacles, as his entire body mimics plant-based life. It can shoot gas bombs and fire explosive fruit grenades, very similar to missiles of Ultimate Humongosaur. And it is also immune to harmful gases that gives Ben a strategic advantage in fights. For the weaknesses, Wildvine can get its vines tangled down that can put him in a disadvantage during combat. Also, its elasticity for his stretching ability has a limit to it, because of which it is kinda hard to rank Wildvine out. It probably is a A-tier alien for the classic continuity respectively, but when you look at other aliens in the list, it certainly fits right at the B tier. Next, we have Blitzwolfer. Well, Blitzwolf is basically werewolf version of Ben 10. In the episode, we see it as one of the only transformation throughout every series where Ben had to slowly go through the transformation. Well, for the majority, the best it can do is Sonic Howls. Basically similar to Echo Echo, but more like werewolf version of it. Besides that, it has sharp claws, has enhanced jumping ability with enhanced durability and reflexes. It also has feats similar to Wildmutt, as in night vision, and also enhanced hearing and smelling ability, very similar to Wildmutt. But unlike Wildmutt, where it has to rely only on its hearing and sensing abilities, Blitzwolf also has eyes, so it can also see things. And yes, it can communicate like average normal aliens of Ben. The Sonic Howls are strong enough to destroy Petrosapien's bodily construction, which means to rank it, Blitzwolf clearly holds A tier. While some may argue it is worthy of S tier, but well, there are other aliens on the list that can one-shot Blitzwolf in one go. For example, Heat Blast. Now, the next alien is Snarrow, or shall I say Ben Mummy. Snarrow is basically Wildvine, but made up of tissue paper strips. It can shapeshift and has the stretching ability of its entire body. It also can regenerate itself. It has enhanced jumping ability with enhanced reflexes and durability. Also, it can survive underwater. While these feats are truly S tier level, but because of Snarrow doesn't look good and is severely chopped. Even Diamond Head can mog him out, because of which I have to put Snarrow at C tier. Next is Frankenstein, also commonly known as Ben Victor. Now, for the most part, the best it can do is generate bioelectricity through these giant towers behind its back, which is not much, but enough to equate to a transformer grid. It obviously has enhanced reflexes and durability, and is prone to the vacuum of space. When it comes to weaknesses, well, his energy grids can be used to absorb the electricity it generates, which can be used against him. Also, unlike other aliens in Classic, Frankenstein can't run fast because of its big size. While to rank him, it does have potential, but well, practically it's a C tier alien. Next, we have Upchuck, that appeared in the episode named The Visitor. Well, Upchuck seemingly has insane power of its own, which is basically it can eat up anything. Literally anything. In the later series, we see Upchuck can even eat up energy projection itself and shoot them against it. While when it comes to weaknesses, Upchuck has a limit to what it can eat. Even though it has almost inevitable eating stomach and harness the energy and project it against during combat, it still can't eat big sizes like way big at one go. While to rank among classic aliens respectively, I do say Upchuck is a solid B tier alien. Next, we have Ditto, that appeared in an episode named Divided We Stand. Ditto Ditto is basically the Echo Echo of Classic, or shall I say Echo Echo is Ditto of Alien Force. While Echo Echo has supersonic waves-like abilities and self-duplication, Ditto, on the other hand, doesn't have much power to go for. All Ditto can do is self-duplication at a certain extent, and other than that, it doesn't have any unique ability to stand out. It also has a drawback, which is it shares pain with its duplicates, unlike Echo Echo, which doesn't. While Ditto can survive inside the water. Beyond all that, it doesn't have anything new. While just for the classic continuity, Ditto gets a A tier, while it is hardly an B tier alien if we consider other series as well. Next we have the Eye Guy, or shall I say aura farming guy. Now Eye Guy is one of the coolest Ben 10 alien by far. It can be ranked as the coolest alien of classic series. While it has powers like optic blasts, 360 vision as his entire body is filled with eyes, and not just that, it also has cryo-electric blasts, which can freeze things like Big Chill. I mean, can you imagine that? While it doesn't have any significant weakness, except his eyes can be damaged, and if done properly, then it can be used as an advantage over him. For the only classic continuity, Eye Guy Do gets an S tier ranking because of such cool aura farming abilities. Next we have Way Big, that appeared in the Ben 10 Secret of the Omnitrix movie. Now, this is the first ever alien that was unlocked by Azimuth himself. While Way Big is by far the biggest alien that Ben has, its species is commonly known as Toku Star. And yes, it can survive in the vacuum of space. While in Classic, we never saw Way Big shooting beams, but later in Alien Force and Ultimate Aliens, we do see Way Big shooting cosmic rays. Not just that, even after being enormously big, it is still one of the fastest alien Ben has. It can run so fast that it can generate tornado and tsunami. While it doesn't have any major weaknesses, but its long fins over the head are its sensitive spots. If damaged, you can probably dominate Way Big. But let's be honest, no one is big enough to do that, because of which Way Big, without any doubt, gets a solid S tier ranking. Next we have Artiguana, that appeared in the episode named Ben 10,000. Now, it is one of the last 3 aliens where it was not our 10-year-old Ben who transformed into, but rather his future version, Ben 10,000. Now, Artiguana has a similar ability like Eye Guy, where it can also freeze ray and construct ice crystals. And also, it can freeze breathe, very similar to Big Chill. While it doesn't have any significant weakness, but let's be real, it doesn't even need any particular weakness to be defeated. It is nothing but an ice-breathing reptilian, because of which it gets a hard B tier ranking. Even though if later series aliens takes into consideration, it might be ranked at best C tier. Next we have Buzzshock, that again appeared in the very same episode as Artiguana. Buzzshock also has the ability to duplicate itself, unlike Echo Echo or Ditto. Buzzshock makes duplicates by splitting its energy, as it is very similar to Amphibian because they both work under bioelectricity. Buzzshock has electric immunity cause, well, that's his power. Besides that, it can absorb energy and electricity, has enhanced speed and reflexes, and it can fly. When it comes to weakness, the only way to weaken Buzzshock is to trap itself in rubber sheets. As we have seen in Classic and Omniverse, how easy is it to get upper hand over Buzzshock? For the Classic continuity respectively, ranking Buzzshock is kinda tricky, even though you can argue it's a A tier alien, but well, constructively, it's a hard B tier at best. At last, we have Spitter. You know what? Who gives a shit? Spitter looks chopped, has no significant ability, is nothing but a cheap fucking knockoff of Upchuck. So yeah, it gets a C tier.